Looks like everybody's here. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see. We did that. Report of action taken in closed session.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, may I hear a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Vote.
I'm sorry, who made the second?
Me, Janet.
Thank you, sorry. Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Amy. Amy's not feeling well, so. Thank you, Amy. Communications to the Board of Trustees. We have educational leadership. Thank you. Capital projects.
So, good evening, President Ellsworth, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, staff. The summer break is an opportunity for the maintenance and facilities teams to complete projects that we usually hold off on until summer break, and that kids and staff are gone. Some of the projects we are working on or will be starting soon are asphalt work at Pence, Nikolov, Sunny Slope, Mendoza, Berry, Warehouse, IB, and Emory. We are also repairing or replacing playground equipment at Sunny Slope, Mendoza, and Oneonta. New fences are being added or repaired at Pence, Nestor, Berry, Friendship, and MOT. I'm only highlighting a few of the items. There's definitely a lot more that we are doing, and we are definitely busy. But just wanted to update the board that maintenance teams, whether it's them or someone we're contracted with, we're definitely busy throughout the district, upgrading our facilities. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Let's see. South Bay PTA Council. California School Employees Association, better known as CSEA. No. Southwest Teachers Association, also known as SWATA. No. District Superintendent.
Good evening, President Ellsworth and Board of Trustees, and everybody here today. I would like to call our Director of Nutrition, Anna DeCastro, and she's going to give a small update.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, President Ellsworth, trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, and colleagues. So I'd just like to give very quick updates on the Department for Child Nutrition Department the current school year. We implemented breakfast at VIP. So now all our schools offer free breakfast and lunch to the students. We didn't have breakfast at VIP. Now we implemented breakfast at VIP. So that's a big win. We apply for the 4 remaining sites to have to be under CP, which is community eligibility provision, which allows for the highest reimbursement rate. So now all our schools are under CP. I know that California is under the universal feeding. So kids eat for free regardless, but even if the universal feeding goes away, all our schools, all our kids are going to have free breakfast and lunches because they're under the CP. So we don't have to worry about that if universal feeding ever goes away. That's a big win. And then having the highest reimbursement rate always allows, with the CP, allows for, more income, more money coming to the department, more investment. We can invest in, better clean labor products, more fresh fruits and vegetables, a variety of fruits and vegetables. We can invest in equipment, I mean, it's endless, whatever the district needs, but mainly for the, the food that we serve our students. Also a good win is the participation from February to 2022 to February 2023 went from 67%, lunch participation in overall district to 74.2. So from 67 to 74, it's like it's about 430 students if you consider total enrollment. So it's a great number. We're very proud of that because it means that either kids like what we're serving, which is the biggest win, but also that parents trust us. Parents trust us to, send their kids without a lunch so kids would eat with us. So that we see both sides of it. And also the parents, there's the burden of, buying food, prepping food, all that. So they leave that with us. So they trust us for that. So we're very happy about that. We're serving currently the ESY and ELOP. So all the 900 students that are enrolled in the summer program, we are serving meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper. We just don't serve supper for the ESY with the special ed because they leave before supper is served. But all the 4 sites serving ELOP, we serve breakfast, lunch, and supper. So we're very proud of that. Our employees are serving them. The kids seem happy. We're trying different items and everything. So we're happy to be able to provide meal for the summer and the community too. So all the 4 sites serving ELOP are open for the community. So any child in the community under 18 years old is welcome to come and have a breakfast and a lunch. So yeah, so we're very happy about that as well. Also we purchased new equipment. So there's something that, we've been listening to what the sites needs, like how can I make their lives easier? Like I don't want them to be working with unsafe equipment or anything like that. So we purchased for the sites, 12 new milk coolers and warmers. So all their milk coolers are brand new warmers, and also we have brand new computers for the sites as well too. So they're happy. Big screens, try to see what's in there. So we're happy about that. We also got new equipment for warehouse. So we have a brand new pallet forklift, which is Toyota, safer, reliable. We all know a Toyota. So we changed it from the one that we had before. The warehouse guys are like, it's Christmas. They love it. There's lights, it does this, it does that. So we're very proud of that. They have a new forklift cage that goes with the forklift. So it's safer for them if they need to pick up something high up. And so it's like a safer, like they don't have to use a ladder or any other equipment. So that's great. We also we also brought the wellness committee back. It's kind of like baby steps because during the pandemic, all districts closed the wellness committee because we couldn't meet in person. There was, hard to reach out to people, but now we have the wellness committee back and hopefully the next year is going to be full force and then just going to have more people coming in. We're going to, try to get more, parents, families. You guys are welcome to join as well. So hopefully I have more updates on the wellness committee anytime soon. So those are the quick updates I have for you guys. I'll answer any questions that you might have. Nope. Okay. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank-
thank you, Superintendent, for
Yes,
squeezing
thank
in.
you. And Director DeCastro will have her regular update later on in the year. But during our one-to-one, I was just so proud of the work that they have done. Taking our participation rate from so low. Their department was one of the departments that was really impacted by during the pandemic because we were serving so few lunches that their participation rate really fell. And for them to now raise their participation rate to where they're at today, that is a big accomplishment. So I wanted to make sure that the board was updated about that.
You're okay. Thank you again. Let's see, we are on to public comments. Thank you very much. Discussion items, we have educational leadership. I would like to recognize Assistant Superintendent Pamela Reichert Montiel regarding the local control accountability plans for the district, Improved Beach Charter and Nestor Language Academy.
Great. Thank you. Good evening, President Ellsworth, Superintendent Espinosa, members of the board, or trustees, colleagues. This evening, I come before you for the approval of the LCAP as well as approval of the federal addendum. Just a few reminders that we had some goals to increase educational partner input this year. We feel that we did that. We did identify what was working, what was challenging about the school year, and gathered suggestions for possible actions moving forward. As you know, we continue to be committed to ensuring that this process is transparent. That's the reason I'm up here almost every month giving you an update. Just a refresher that we are required to produce an LCAP. And what I want to share with you particularly about this is that this is really the state funds. This is a state requirement. So the LCAP is a state requirement. The federal addendum is a federal requirement. So we happen to include our federal funds in our LCAP in our action steps, but really this LCAP is the state requirement that outlines our actions and services related to LCFF funding and any other state funding. We have our goal 1, as you're familiar with. Our goal 2, in which in our final draft, the only change was related to goal 2, that final action step, 2.7, which is to conduct the equity walk, student empathy interviews, and student fishbowls. And then we also added the metrics for that new activity and shifted some funds to go with activity 2.7, taking them out of the goal 2.4, which was equity focused leadership frameworks, CEL, which we had already completed. Goal 3 did not change. And then this is just a little reminder. I know that sometimes we're asked questions about the charters and the LEAs. This is a reminder that all 3 LEAs, South Bay Union School District, Imperial Beach Charter School, and Nestor Language Academy Charter, are directly funded. That is why they have to have their LCAPs. Even though IB and Nestor are dependent charters and fall under the board, you all, as well as the superintendent, they are dependent charters, but they have their own LCAPs. The South Bay Union School District LCAP funds that we are allocated support the 9 schools plus the virtual academy. I said plus virtual academy because it is going to be housed in one of our schools, but they still have their own school plan for this coming year, where IB and Nestor are directly funded, and then they pay the district via a mega chargeback for services. So they benefit from the services of the personnel of the district and the work that we do for the charter, but they are directly funded. Okay. And that is it. Are there any questions related to the LCAP before we seek your approval?
Thank you for explaining that a little bit more for us in regards to the budget for charters. It's my understanding that the charters generate the funds and they allocate just like a school site council does and submit their budget. And so their money is their money to use as they please, as for programs and or staff or any other thing that they need at school. So I'm really interested in that one. You brought it forward tonight because there's been a question out there. And the average daily attendance at these schools are directed funneled back to the school, not to the district.
That is correct.
And so if they need district services, they pay for district services.
Yes, via the mega chargeback.
Thank you.
And that's a percentage typically of their allocation where we take a look at, again, if you have, let's say our director of special education, and we know that they are receiving those services and supports from the special education department, then it's a percentage related to either enrollment or dividing by schools, things like that. So there's different calculations, but Joel's department takes care of that mega chargeback. Mm-hmm. And then I just want to point out that, yes, they are their own LEA. They do have their own LCAP. The only thing that I would add is that because we are in differentiated assistance and they are dependent charters, they also fall under the same guidelines. So while they do have control to make decisions, just like a site council at another school, the difference is they're directly funded. So they receive all of their funds. So an example of how that might be different from a school like Bayside, what is it if Bayside needs a new roof, the new roof comes out of the SBUSD funds and allocation, where if Nestor needs a new roof, it comes out of Nestor's funds. We do not pay for that roof. Nestor pays for their own roof. Bayside, we would pay for the roof because we're funded for Bayside.
Now, the only other thing that I would add to that is that yes, they do receive their own funds and they have, a lot of autonomy on how they're going to use those funds. But because they are connected to our district, for example, they don't decide on raises, right? They're part of our district. So once our unions and the district come up with, whatever, then they're responsible for that piece. So that's the only kind of clarification that I would add. Yes, they have a lot of autonomy to use their funds, but they still follow whatever district, decisions are being made at the district level.
They fall under you, the board. They fall under the CSCA contract. They fall under the SWATA contract.
Thank you. I think you need a motion to adopt.
Yep.
The LCAPs of the three entities.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Okay, let's go for the vote.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Please continue with the federal addendum.
Thank you. So in addition to the LCAP this evening, I am seeking approval of the federal addendum. The federal addendum is meant to supplement the LCAP. In a perfect world, we would have one document, but that never seems to happen. So because the LCAP is a state document, we also have the federal addendum where we have to identify the federal funds that we receive. That is not to say that the federal funds are not called out in the LCAP, but that is not a requirement of the LCAP to do so. What is a requirement is the federal addendum. We put the funds in the LCAP because it is a comprehensive plan of our instructional program, our goals 1, 2, and 3. And so of course we do identify it in there. This just talks about the background and then providing that the addendum provides LEAs the opportunity to document their approach to maximizing the impact of federal investments, remembering that our federal funds are supplemental to our LCFF funds. And so that's where it becomes important is while we do put our funds into our LCAP, the LCAP is the template itself is for base program. So we do identify those supplemental action steps, but the federal addendum really outlines that. In addition, because we are in differentiated assistance, not only do we identify how we are using the funds for our titles 1, 2, and 3, but we also have to make sure that we're following the criteria for acceptable expenditures, which are related to the ESSA legislation and language. And so South Bay and both of the charters have to follow this criteria, which is looking at the different tiered resources and making sure that they are in tier 1, which is like a highest level of approval under ESSA. The budget for 23-24 is the following in titles 1, 2, and 3. So you can see there almost $2 million in Title 1. Title 1 is really identified by the socioeconomic status of students. So it is a student count, how many students are enrolled. Title 2 is an all student count, but that is for professional development. And Title 3 is for our multilingual learners or English learners, and that is based on count. Some of the examples that we use are Title 1, Title 2, and Title 3 for supplemental resources. And you might be familiar with some of these little clip art up here is GGR Penguin, which is our SD math supplemental. Again, this is not the core curriculum. It is not the math adoption. This is supplemental. We have our Fontes and Pinnell literacy for us to be able to assess students' reading levels. Imagine Learning is for our English learners. So I could say Imagine Learning, we purchase typically out of Title III for our multilingual learners, sometimes Title I, depending on what our resources are. And then Benchmark is a new one. So the new Benchmark, Taller, and Benchmark Workshop. And those are the supplemental programs that we are now using in our dual immersion programs. So again, not the core curriculum. This is above and beyond the core. This is just a sample of what the federal addendum looks like. We will make a link to the LCAP once it is approved this evening. And so that is the only thing that will change on the cover page of the addendum, is making sure that we update that link. So any questions at this point before I seek approval?
I just want to acknowledge the work of your department, staff, school sites and department that develop these plans every month. You come to us and I appreciate that. The explanation about what is and what is important to us to understand where that funding comes from and why, and areas in which we can improve on the LCAP were identified last month. And so I just want to applaud your work, Superintendent. Thank you for your work and your staff. Thank you.
You have a question? Sure.
I'm not sure if this is the exact right time or whatever, but I've heard wonderful things about Benchmark, and I know we're using that with our dual language programs. Is that something that might be later available to other schools?
Well, that's a really good question. So one of the reasons that we looked at that via our consultation committee with our union, with SWATA, was because the units of study, Lucy Calkins units of study that we are using, that is our core curriculum that was adopted, is not translated into Spanish for our dual immersion programs. So we really did have to seek a different program for the Spanish component. So we started with Taller, and then found that they were using the units of study in English, but Taller in Spanish. So we were kind of right back to the same issue or problem, which was that there wasn't a match. And when you do have students moving from a Spanish component to an English component, you want them to do it seamlessly, and you want there to be as little confusion as possible. And that's when we entertained this idea of the Benchmark workshop in English. So that's really where we're at, is in order to support the dual language immersion program. We are not due for an actual adoption of ELA materials. And I know I came up with an update at one point about the adoption calendar. So we're not due for an adoption for quite some time. The concern about moving forward district-wide with something like that is that we are expecting the new ELA framework and the adoptions and the publishers going forward for approved adoptions. And we're anticipating that Benchmark will have changes. So it's not to say that we can't make decisions to move forward with additional supplemental materials. We just have to caution ourselves that we will be in this place of a new adoption, and it most likely will not be the Benchmark of today. So the question is, do we want to spend what an adoption costs, which is typically for ELA about $2 million, on something that 3 to 4 years from now, we're going to say, hey, there's a new and improved ELA adoption. So yeah, so as far as this is a supplemental, but they are really using it for, I would say, as more primary in the dual language immersion as their primary resource. Yeah.
Thank you for the question.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's why I said it's a good question.
Yeah, that was good
And it's a question
information.
we've heard before. So we're well aware of the challenges that the current adoption. Yeah, right. And I think that we have a great opportunity to see how this goes, a great opportunity to see another resource and to really get feedback about that resource before we make those decisions moving forward. Because again, we really want to make sure that our instruction is standards based and not curriculum resource based. So that'll be some of the conversations that we can have moving forward, is how is this meeting the standards in comparison to our core curriculum.
So back to what you need from us at this point. You need a motion to approve the federal addendum, the LCAPS federal addendum. May I hear one?
I move to adopt or accept.
Second?
Second.
I'll call for the vote.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Seguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Next, Director Tom Bevilacqua to approve the school plans for student achievement.
Good evening, President Ellsworth, Superintendent Espinosa, trustees, executive team, colleagues, and community members out there. So Senate Bill 374 requires each school site to develop plans as required by the Consolidated Application Program into a SIPSA, or a school plan for student achievement. The plan meets the content requirements of Education Code Section 64001 as outlined in the Every Student Succeeds Act. And the plan includes alignment with the district LCAP. It addresses how funds will be allocated to improve academic achievement. It's aligned with state and federal requirements, and it's developed in conjunction with school advisory committees, and it's approved through the school site council. And finally, it must be approved by the governing board. So it is respectfully requested that the superintendent would recommend approval of the school plans for student achievement.
So recommended. I see. Are there any questions?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
I will call for the vote. Oh,
Thank you for bringing this forward this month. It was hefty reading. And it's always nice to read what the school's doing, what their plan, the challenges are. And I just want to recognize the work that is done at the school sites to develop their site plans and allocation of their funds, and how they are working towards the challenges that they meet every day, and as well as achieving those outcomes that they are championing for the year. So thank you very much for this report this evening, and please tell all our principals, thank you.
Thank you.
call for the vote, please.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Seguino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Let's see, we are on to Assistant Superintendent Regalada and Director Joel Ryan, who's not here. He is in spirit. To adopt the proposed budget for the next school year, 23-24.
Good evening, President Ellsworth, Board Trustee, Superintendent Espinosa, and community members and staff. Yes, Director Ryan is not feeling well, so we let him be home rather than coughing and spreading germs. So
Thank
he
you.
is watching. 2 weeks ago, on June 8th, we presented the proposed budget to the board. We are, as a reminder, we are fiscally solvent and able to meet our financial obligations in 23-24 in the following 2 years. Although we are deficit spending, as you know, we are managing it, and we will continue to do so. The state will adopt its budget by the end of June. If there are any, we're not anticipating any major changes, but if they are, then we will provide our own 45-day update, 45-day budget update in August. That's really just a recap regarding the budget. Again, we shared a lot of information a couple of weeks ago. Are there any questions before we take action?
This still might change in October, correct?
Our revenues, depending on the tax, we are hoping not, but there may be an impact, yes. And remember, we will have the first interim report, which is an update up to October, to end of October, which we bring that to the board in December. So we'll have a full update then for you.
Okay, but you don't hear any,
As of now,
Gossip.
with the tax, no. I do not have an update regarding that.
Thank you
Yeah.
for being formal.
Yeah.
So any questions? Then let's hear a motion to adopt the proposed budget
I
that we
motion
heard
to
before.
adopt.
Second.
Thank you, thank you. Call for the vote.
Ellsworth,
Yes, please.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aquino,
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all your work. Let's see, we have Assistant Superintendent Pamela Reichert Montiel regarding the appointment of a principal at Central School.
Thank you, President Ellsworth, Superintendent Espinosa, trustees. I come before you to seek approval of the appointment of Edgardo Salazar as the principal of Central Elementary. Unfortunately, Edgardo is not here this evening. He is at home caring for his child, but he is on Zoom. So wherever the cameras are. Hi, Edgardo.
Oh.
Edgardo has been with South Bay since 2004 and has served as an impact teacher, and teacher on special assignment. Since 2021, he has been the assistant principal at Nestor Language Academy. He has 2 bachelor's degrees from San Diego State, one in Latin American Studies and the other in Spanish American Literature. He also has his master's degree from San Diego State in Spanish American Literature and holds several credentials. I know that he's on the Zoom call. I'm sure that I can speak for Edgardo when I say that he is very, very excited and honored, most importantly, honored to be selected for the position of principal at Central Elementary School.
May I have a motion to approve his appointment?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. And let's call for the vote, please.
Ellsworth,
Yes, please.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aquino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations, Edgardo.
Thank you, Pamela, for stepping in. Let's see, we have a consent calendar next. May I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
I second.
Ellsworth,
Yes.
Liker,
Yes.
Lopez Aquino,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Quinones.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
On to future agenda items. Does anyone on the board have any suggestions for a topic for a future agenda item? Okay, that looks like not at this time. So we're on to communications from the Board of Trustees, 3 minutes apiece. Who'd like to go first?
I regret not having my children go to summer school.
Here,
I'm sorry, could you move the microphone a little
Yeah.
closer to you? Thank you.
I regret not enrolling my children in the after-school program. I see through my friends all the cool things that the students are doing. While I put a tent in my backyard for my kids to play in so they don't make a mess. But there's more sessions coming up, right? That we can enroll in. So I will be sure to get on that because it looks amazing. So thank you for putting that all together for our kids and having them fed and have these cool experiences of there's kids at SeaWorld today. How awesome is that? So thank you, and I won't make that mistake again.
Anybody else? Okay.
I just want to share, I did send my 2 children to summer, they did in summer break. So they did it again and they're very excited doing games in the computers. They just went to a field trip last week, so they're enjoying it. So thank you for having this back for our children. And thank you for the reports.
Thank you, board, for an outstanding last 6 months. We really worked hard this year and we moved a lot of mountains. Thank you, Superintendent Amy and staff, for all your hard work that you do for children in our community. In all 3 zip codes, not one child left behind. So thank you, including our food service department. Our child nutrition is so essential. It's the heartbeat that feeds our children. I say this as a child that grew up that had to work in the kitchen at Emory for food. Our kids don't have to do that. Thank you. Thank you. They set me up for food service, but I said, nah. But I did have to work through high school in the cafeteria for food. So our children are very fortunate that the district has a program like ours. So thank you. And thank you to your staff who make wonderful meals for our children that might not possibly have that at home. So thank you. I get emotional about that because I have lived it. So pardon me. I'm so thankful for our summer programs. Our kids are jumping around outside playing. I haven't seen that in years. They're excited about school. You made that happen, Superintendent. You made that happen. Playing on their computers. You made that happen. It's been a challenging year, but we're doing it. We're doing it. And our facilities who are working so hard to clean our schools and rebuild what they can. Our budget, we're sound. We have a lot to champion. We have a lot to say thank you for. And as a community member of 65 years, I thank you.
I would like to say you have 1 month to enjoy your own personal summer program, and we'll see you in a month, okay? Don't think of us, relax, think of something else. Right? Yes, done. We're done. Did we not, what did I forget something? What did I forget? I did hit the gavel. They're all staring at me like I forgot something. You're in shock. Okay, good.